All right, how's it going, everyone? So, doing a quick video here on the border and immigration crisis. That includes drug smuggling, human smuggling, just illegal crossings, and all this other illicit activity that's going on the border right now. So, I was back in San Diego for Easter weekend, and I'll start off at the San Diego Convention Center because this is kind of the hub right now of a lot of the economic migrant stuff going on. So, since people aren't being able to be housed at these detention facilities due to the Flores Agreement. What's happening is DHS, Homeland Security, Border Patrol, Immigration Services, they're transporting people to these temporary housing facilities. Now, the San Diego Convention Center prior to this was, I think, wrongfully converted into a homeless shelter for everyone, right? During the COVID crisis, and then when the city had much better properties around here, which they could have done tents, they could have just done some temporary housing solutions, even trailers. They had a lot better options than using the convention center because right as the pandemic ended, well, Mayor Todd Gloria, no, because it was Faulkner that made the decision to put the homeless in here. Gloria then said, well, because Gloria's a leftist, he's in bed with Newsom and the Biden administration. Like, he's that type of politics. And don't get me wrong, Gloria, I've met with him before. He's a nice guy. I disagree with his politics on a few things. I would say a lot of things. I think the only thing that me and him kind of agreed on was like some land development stuff and the convention center. When I had my plan in a while back, I actually met with his office when I was um when that whole thing started, was like 2011. I mean, when I got involved, 2010, 2011. And I actually went up to City Hall and met with his staff. So, because he was interim mayor at the time. So, that being said, I mean, I can come to the common ground with politicians, but in this thing, I was just saying, no, this is a bad decision. Because now the San Diego Convention Center is a hub for economic migrants. They said, I think it was only like 2,000 people capacity. Well, then why did you board up the walls? You can see right here, everything is boarded up, right? If What are they trying to hide? Right? The kids are supposed to be inside the convention hall. They're supposed to be in the hall, not outside there. And there are back ways you can get upstairs, right? Through the center of the building. So you would think that this area would be open, you could see what's going on inside, but they've walled this off. I would also consider this a fire hazard as well because, I mean, realistically, it's like what happens if there's a fire? You're just gonna have a bunch of kids running out, and yeah, it's bad. But you'll see here that, I mean, DHS is watching, right? They're all set up. So instead of these resources being on the border and fighting the cartels and whatnot too, these guys are babysitting kids. That's what's happening. They are literally babysitting kids, which is a bad use of their resources. Um, Now, you have a lot going on at the San Diego Convention Center just because of this, right? I was down here for Easter for a game at Petco Park, which was funny too because he had mask Gestapos going around and saying, "Oh, put on your mask, put on your mask, put on your mask." Newsom's people are watching. Newsom can go screw off somewhere. Like, no, I'm not a fan of Newsom. But you can have baseball at limited capacity, but you can't have conventions. Or is the logic in that? This is where I disagree with Gloria. He should have just said, okay, let's get the tourism industry going in San Diego again. But he can't because once they booted everyone out of the convention center here, the city had to buy up a bunch of hotels. So the city now owns a bunch of hotels because they had to do this for their emergency declaration. That was the only way to get the homeless population out of the convention center, was if you had to put them in similar housing. You can sue over that. You said you took them from a building, you're putting them in a tent, we're suing. That's what would happen. So the city was supposed to buy hotels, which, granted, hotel capacity is very limited during big events in San Diego like Comic Con. Whereas logic, none whatsoever. So enough about the convention center, but that's where one of the locations they're housing the economic migrants because they're being brought in, detained at these temporary holding facilities on the border, and then taken somewhere in the United States to be held and awaiting trial or awaiting their asylum hearing. And what's going to happen after? They're going to kick them out. Going to kick out all these kids. It'll be interesting to see what the Biden administration does, but I have a feeling that that is a new Democrat voter base because they want to, in the future, make it so that people who came here illegally can become citizens. See how that works? And this is the other thing too, guys. If you're gonna come to this country and claim asylum, you're gonna go to the border. You're gonna go to the port of entry, and you're gonna say, you're gonna go, walk through like you're gonna enter normally to the country. Sir, I'd like to request asylum. Sir, ma'am, I want to request asylum. They'll take you through the process. You're good to go. But you have people that will say, and I'll show you where they're crossing right now. Because this area is actually, there's a few gaps in the fencing over here. One of my friends has a range, let's just say out in this general vicinity. I'll do a big circle here, and they've replaced some of the fencing by his, which was before the landing mat fencing, kind of out in the boonies there. But now they're seeing a lot more crossings because, well, the wall's not finished. The Biden administration just said, okay, stop. Well, now we just have open pieces because they took down the old fencing. They didn't even let them put up the old fencing, right? In some of these areas, just said, don't touch anything, leave it. Now you have big gaps in the fence. So Biden's purposely trying to get more people in this country. That's how it seems, anyways. But as you can see here, this is the Imperial County and San Diego County line. This is where the wall stops. I believe the plan was to take this all the way up the hill here. So this is Blue Angels Peak. This wall was supposed to go all the way up and then continue to Calexico to fill the gap in between there. That work order stopped. Calexico and Mexicali is actually one of the hot spots right now. So if you remember in the news a couple weeks ago, maybe it was a little over a month ago, how there's an SUV that crossed into the United States, took down, like the cartels took down some of the fencing that was dilapidated already. And I mean, Border Patrol is in some of these areas are not even allowed to touch the fencing. They can't even fix it. Like something gets knocked down, they have to get approval from the top to go and fix it. They can't just go back up and fix it like they would be able to do under the Trump administration. They just, well, leave it. It's fine. So when you see a bunch of the concertina wire that's cut, and Ben Berkholm did a good job covering that. Outside of, what's the name of the town here, just south of Tucson, Nogales, right? Outside Nogales, there's some good video for there, for that area, and I'm actually gonna go also fly the drone over there too, because I think that would be some cool shots. Obviously, because I'm in Arizona, you gotta, let's just say you have protection on you. But California, not so much. I'm doing a ride along with Border Patrol. I'll probably do a ride along with Border Patrol anyways. But this whole sector right here is a hotbed right now. And I'll overlay the clip here. But you'll see in this whole area here, just coming down the 8, Border Patrol everywhere because they had to shift their manpower. I mean, this area is normally like pretty busy because there's no wall here, but it was even busier. I saw at least 15 cars, with even those guys that have the ATV racks on the back. They were out there in the hills looking for people who would cross. And the people that are crossing here are the smugglers. These are the drug smugglers. These are the people bringing illegal weapons in the country. That's the ones that are trying to go through these areas. A lot of the the human smuggling aspect of it, they'll just go right here. So there's a power switch station or power substation and switch station, which is right here, and that also feeds power into Mexico, I believe, because there is a, if you look at the national grid, there is a JS map that shows you the national grid. Because I covered this when I was doing the report on the Southwest energy and nuclear power. You actually have the Sunrise Power Link, which goes through this whole area here. That brings power in from Arizona to California. And one of these switch stations is one of the ones that tripped when there's that blackout. I want to say it was like early, it was like 2000, maybe 2009, 2010. It was a while ago, but I do remember that when I think it was just right out of high school. It's been a minute on that, so don't quote me on the exact date. But getting back on topic, the illegals will want to cross, right? They'll just cross here and turn themselves in. So the coyotes will just say, okay, go through right here. Where you have the drug smugglers take a path over here, and you can actually see there are some legitimate paths. These have been traveled. These trails have been traveled. I mean, you can see, I mean, just if you zoom in, it looks like here's the route right here. There's a little path that the cartel takes their drugs, and it goes out to like a dirt road over here. So, I mean, the fact of the matter is, we need a wall continuous from end to end, from the California Ocean to where the border ends, meaning Mexico, on the Texas side here in the Gulf of Mexico. It needs to be continuous. Put technology in there, which makes it smart, and you can see things coming across. Perfect. I mean, it's just stupid how it's like, oh yeah, we want to keep the smart technology in, but we don't want a wall. So if you don't want a wall, then it's like, well, what's the point then? Because that technology will send someone crossing. They're going to be long gone by the time you get there. So what's the point of having that? And not to mention, the cartels will just probably break that stuff anyways. So that being said, this whole area right here is a hotbed right now. So I'm going to try to go with Border Patrol and film that. But where I was ended up filming, because I stopped over at the rest station over here, wanted to get some video with the drone, is on the Yuma sector on this side here. There's a giant cell tower over here and whatnot, but this is right outside of the dunes. So you can see where and I'll show the drone video in an overlay here. You could see where the fencing switches from the sand dune style to it's cemented into the ground, like with deep piles. And I mean, if you knock on it, it's reinforced. Like, it is reinforced concrete inside of that steel tube. So very hard to cut through. I mean, when there's a will, there's a way, but it will deter 99.999% of crossings. I mean, you can see on some of the videos that Ben Berkham's been uploading too. They're trying to get over the wall by like building these like makeshift ladders and stuff, but that's why you do like the 30-foot high ones, not these like puny ones that you'll see in the video that's playing in the background right now. So again, I'll try to get some more video of that in the near future. That being said, you get into actually getting into Yuma here. This sector over here, they were filling the gaps in. Didn't go through all the way because the Colorado River's the cutoff, right? Then you have your California and Arizona line, which again follows the Colorado River there. But getting into Fontuna Foothills, you'll see over here there is a Border Patrol checkpoint, which is normally open. You can see in the image it is open. Here I was taken in 2016. Most of the time open, but the time I just went through, closed. And it was closed because all those resources, and there's probably like one or two people in there that are just manning it, just so like, you know, it's like kind of like communications or whatever. That's what I'll take a guess, because there was a couple vehicles parked, but there was no one there because all the manpower is being shifted to the wall. right? Because you now have open sections because the Biden administration just said, hey, stop. And they can't even put up the old fencing. It's just left open and people are just walking on through. So, that's some bad immigration policy right there. That's just bad national security policy too. So, again, that being said, that's open, so you can see that clip playing. But it is a real problem on the border, guys. I mean, people who are saying there is no immigration crisis, they're lying to you, or they're just ignorant. If you if people that said there's no immigration crisis literally took the time to go down to the border and do it right along with Border Patrol, and the Border Patrol showing, here's what's actually going on, I think that would open people's eyes. But when you have the major media covering for the administration and saying, "Oh, it's not kids in cages. It's a economic migrant recreational facility," or something stupid like that, it's like they're all in bed with each other. It's all the establishment. They're let me scratch your back, and that's why these guys hated Trump so much is because Trump just is like, no, fake news, fake news, fake news, fake news, just doing that and pissing these guys off, which I thought was hilarious, honestly. I voted for him the first time. Um, it's like, oh, businessman, I'll take someone who's not a politician. Second time around, it's like, this guy's awesome. He pisses off the establishment and pisses off the media so much that they have to write fake stories about him all the time. And I mean, for anyone who's educated and actually can do the research, you'll find that a lot of these stories are like taken out of context or just flat out fake news that they do about him. But now that Biden's in, I mean, the media had to get their boy across the finish line. Mr. Should be in a nursing home. But that being said, I think Shamla, as I like to call her, Kamala Harris, is running the show. And there is actually a couple other good nicknames for her, but they're not PC, so I'm not gonna say it. Worst AG in California right now. I would say that too. She was one of the worst, and I'm glad I escaped that state because that state was trash. Even more trash when she was the AG, and she kept, you know, people incarcerated, even though she's like, yeah, I'm gonna get rid of like minor crimes, I'll let you go. No, they just kept more people in cages. And now we have kids in cages. Biden plus Kamala, it's the perfect match. Just like a kid, just build like a giant warehouse, just toss a bunch of kids in there. That's the Obama slash Biden slash Harris policy. Because they don't actually want to go and fix the root of immigration here. They don't want to fix the immigration process. They just want to bring more people in because later on the end game is just going to be, oh, hey, look, more votes because, hey, we're going to offer making you citizens. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, right? Hey, you should really vote for us once you become a citizen. Then you get one party rule because how many millions of illegals are living in the country right now? If you have a bunch of illegals registering to vote in all these states, you're essentially stuffing the ballot box at that point. But that will be another video for the future, talking about that policy. I'm gonna end it right now because we're just at the 20-minute mark, but I'm gonna do it right along with Border Patrol, so look for that in the future. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so when you'll get a notification when I'm out there recording and I upload a video or whatnot. But that being said, guys, stay safe. Hope everyone had a enjoyable Easter weekend because I'm filming this literally today. I came back from Easter. So, that being said, have a great one, everyone. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. See you next time. Stay classy.